Yo, what is good, fam? Welcome to the Lifestyle Buffet. I got to talk to the athletes because it's a lot of you all that have dreams to be great. Some of y'all want to ultimately one day become GOATs in whatever sport you play. I'm going to give you all the tools and the tactics and things that you need to do that'll get you there. So we're going to jump right into it because all of you all have the potential. Any of you all that sees this, the potential and the capability is there. It just comes down to you having the resources and the actions that you take. So we're going to jump right into it. The first thing that I need you to understand, if you're going to make this happen and become the best player that you can be, or one of the greats, is you got to have the belief system first. I know that maybe sound cliche and some of y'all are like, I already know that. Well, it's a lot of people that have heard that. But if you look at how a lot of y'all athletes move, you can tell that you really don't truly believe that you can be a GOAT or be one of the greatest, because the confidence in your voice doesn't say that you believe that. How you move doesn't show that you believe that you can be one of the GOATs. How you play and the things that you do don't line up with somebody that's actually trying to go and be a GOAT or be elite at their sport. And all that comes down to is a lack of belief, or you having limiting beliefs on what you really can get out there and accomplish. So that's step number one, is you sitting down and being able to have the belief that, look, I can actually really do this. I can actually become this type of player. So that's what you gotta do. And if you don't have that belief, you need to ask yourself, why not? Like, literally sit down with yourself in a quiet room, not your homeboys, not your parents, just you, and really have a conversation with yourself on why you feel like you can't become a great player. Because any of your favorite players, it don't matter what sport you play, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, all of your favorite players, for me personally, I've always been Kobe fan. Kobe is one of the GOATs to me. I got love for LeBron. We all know MJ is the GOAT to me, but Kobe is the player that resonated with me the most. As far as football, I had several favorite players. But what you have to understand, ultimately, any favorite player that you have, Kobe, Curry, LeBron, MJ, for football, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, AJ Green, Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, the list goes on and on. Whatever players that you consider a GOAT, at one day, at one time, they were just like where you are now. What got them to where they are now, players that you all idolize, it was actions that they took on an everyday basis, on a consistent basis, over a long period of time that built them into those type of players. You can do the same thing. So that's the second thing I need you to do. I need you to grab a notebook. Grab one of these if you don't have one. They're a couple of dollars at any grocery store, any store. And you need to write out, what player do I want to be? A few things. By the end of 2025, what type of player do I want to be? Where do I want to be? That's what you need to write out. And then you need to write out your ultimate goal. What type of player do you want to be in 5 years? What type of player do you want to be in 10 years? Because what you have to understand is, I'm going to use LeBron as a prime example. I use Tom Brady as a prime example. LeBron is 40 now, right? So if you look at LeBron at 10 versus LeBron at 20, well, I'll say LeBron at 8 years old when he started playing basketball versus at 18. In a 10-year span, he did work on a day-in, day-out basis, working on his skill development, learning the knowledge, studying film, studying the greats and emulating things that he saw his favorite players do. And he just added that to his game, and he took time and he worked on his skills over a time period where from 8 years old to 18, that work over a 10-year span made him one of the best players in the country and got him into the league. Now, granted, LeBron is a freak athlete. So I know some people are probably going to throw that in there, but I'm just giving an example. Any player that you look at that's in the NFL or the NBA, they started off at some point as a kid, and every year it was like, every day I'm going to work and try and get a little bit better. And each year they got better, and they just stacked up until before long, they're one of the best players at their sport, in their sport in general. They're one of the best players at their position, and that just comes with it. So you need to grab that notebook and put, what player do you want to be in 5 years? What player do you want to be in 10 years? And then you need to look at what things would that person be doing in order for you to be that player. What things would you need to be doing on a daily basis? Write them out. Today I need to do X, Y, and Z. Rather, for the hoopers, I need to get at least 250 to 500 made shots. Or, I need to spend 15 to 20 minutes every day on my ball handling. Whatever it is. For the football players, if you need to spend extra time on your route tree or your footwork, or for the QBs, if you need to take extra time studying film, looking at coverage, and the other things that you need to do, the list goes on and on. I'm just throwing out a few examples of the things that come with what you need to do on a day-to-day basis. But whatever the things are, you need to put those things as a list and as a to-do list. And then you need to make sure that you're actually doing these things. And understand, trust me, if you want to be great, there's going to be a lot of days where it's just boring and redundant. Just like you get up and brush your teeth and you wash your face and take a shower. That can be redundant because it's just an everyday thing you do. Excuse me. Understand, there's going to be a lot of days where you don't want to get out there and do the work. You're going to may be tired, your body may be sore. It may be the wintertime and it's cold as hell outside, or in the summertime and it's hot and blazing, and you don't feel like going out and doing your drills or getting your reps in. Understand that if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Somebody's going to eat. It might as well be you. So listen, you either do the work or you don't. But if you don't want to make the sacrifices that your favorite players made in order for them to be the GOATs and elite players that you said you want to be as well, then understand it ain't gonna happen for you if you aren't willing to sacrifice and make hard decisions and do the work even when you don't feel like doing it, or when it's hard, when you're not seeing results and everything else that comes with the grind. You gotta be a dog, you gotta be hungry, and you really gotta be after the shit if you're gonna get it. I need y'all to understand that. And it's so doable. And that brings me to the third thing. The third thing that you need that's gonna help you to ultimately become a GOAT and an elite player is you need accountability. You have to have accountability partners that's holding you accountable for your goals. So the same goals that you wrote down, you gotta have a few people, either one, two, or a few, and you share the goals. Look, this is my goals. This is the player that I'm working to become. These are the things that I need to be doing on an everyday basis. I'm sharing this with you so that you can help hold me accountable, so that when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you can get on me and make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. You gotta have those. And speaking of, I actually have a community where I help athletes. We have accountability, holding athletes accountable to their dreams, their aspirations, and the goals that they set. So if you need a group of accountability, if you're really actually serious about becoming a great player, going D1, going to the league, I'm leaving that information in the comment section. Subscribe to my Discord. It's a free community. Or follow me over on IG as well. DM me if you got any questions, you need any help. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this to any other athletes, whether you got friends, a brother, a nephew, a son, whoever. Make sure that they get this, because over in this community, we building elite athletes. I mean, we got apex top predators over here. hunters, headhunters, and we going to get it. That's what we're building over here. And any athlete that comes over into this space, we're working diligently and hard to build them into the greatest athlete that they can be. And I'm also a person that does coaching, primarily with basketball and football. If any of you all need help or need one-on-one coaching for your son, your nephew, your brother, whoever, message me with that as well. I am here to help you. So yeah, you gotta have accountability. That is vital, because at some point you're gonna get off track. It happens to the best of us, and you need those people in your corner that's gonna remind you, hey, yo, tighten up, bruh. This is what you said you wanted to do. You said you was trying to go D1. You said you wanted to get to the league. You playing around, goofing off, playing on 2K all afternoon, all night, and you didn't go spend a minute doing drills and working on your craft? What we doing? You effing up. Tighten up. You need those type of people in your corner that's gonna hold you accountable and it's gonna keep you on track. It is a security blanket. That's all it is. It's something that's gonna make sure that you don't fall off track of your goals and being on the road to becoming an elite player. So I need you to understand that. And the fourth thing that you gotta do, and I dabbled into that a little bit a few minutes ago, is to understand that in order to become an elite player and to be a GOAT, you have to sacrifice. You have to be persistent, because there's gonna be roadblocks and setbacks and things that happen to slow you down. You gotta be persistent and relentless. You gotta be disciplined and consistent. There's gonna be a lot of times where there's things that are gonna come up that you have a choice of whether you're gonna stand on business and do what you gotta do, or you're gonna be like, man, I ain't doing that, man. I'ma just go over here and do this. You gotta be disciplined, locked in, and consistent in doing the work day in, day out. You gotta eat, breathe, and sleep this ish. You just have to. That's what your favorite players did. Kobe, LeBron, Curry, a lot of them, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, they gave up a lot of fun, a lot of different things to devote time, attention to detail, effort, extra hours, extra reps, everything into their craft to becoming a great. That's what comes with it. They did it whether they wanted to or not. They gave up parties. Sometimes they gave up family functions. Sometimes they gave up trips and leisure times. They gave up the video games. These are things you gotta be willing to put down and set to the side and choose. I'm locking in and I'm putting extra hours, extra time into perfecting my craft. If you want to be a great, if you want to just be an okay player, if you want to play JV and varsity, if you just want to be a role player, if you just want to be a star in high school, if you want to maybe make a D1 team just to say, oh, I got onto a D1 team, if you just want to be a scholarship player and just a regular player and not be impactful, or if you just want to get to the league, for the ones that just get to the league, then you can just do the regular or just enough. But if you're going to be a great player, somebody that transcends time, where you're going to be remembered like, dang, he actually left a mark in this game. You gotta sacrifice. I promise you, it's not gonna happen if you aren't willing to go all in on it. And I need y'all to understand that, because every last one of y'all that sees this is capable of doing that. It just comes down to the everyday actions that you decide to take. And if you're gonna decide to do the things you need to do, point blank, period. So understand that anything you want to do is already out there. Just look at your favorite players. Look at how they move. Take time and actually look it up. All of y'all got smartphones. If you can get on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and everything else, take time to look up your favorite players and look at the things that they do and how they move. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just look at the things that they do and then emulate the things that they do and put your little spin on it. And before long, if you do that over a long period of time, you'll get there. And that's the last thing. The main thing, not the main thing, but that's another thing I need you to understand is this thing is going to be a long process. You becoming a great player isn't going to happen in a month. It definitely ain't going to happen in a couple of weeks. It's not going to be a few months. It ain't going to be a year. It ain't going to be a few years. If you look at Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, every last one of them put in at least a bare minimum of a decade before they were even possibly considered, a decade minimum before they were even considered one of the greatest of all times. And I said a decade minimum because none of them were considered a great in a decade. All of them, it took them a decade just to even get to the league. LeBron, Michael Jordan, they didn't become considered GOATs until they were almost a decade into the league. It takes time, man. You got to be locked in, and you know what? Be like, man, I'm going to lock this shit in until, no matter how long it takes, if it takes me 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I'm locking this thing in, and I'm just going to duck my head and grind until I get where I'm trying to go. And I promise if you move like that and you actually pour into your craft, pour into your sport, you'll be there, man. I promise you. There is nothing that you cannot accomplish out here. Nothing. There ain't no limits on what type of athlete you can be. And to be honest, you're already a GOAT because it's just like an apple tree. An apple tree wasn't always a big tree that produced fruit. At one point, it was a seed. At one point, it was just a small plant with a couple of little leaves on there. Then it was a little bit of a bigger plant. But it was a long process for that apple seed to go from a seed that had potential to a full tree that has fruit. You ain't no different. You already have it. It's all about you doing the things that lines up with the player that you want to be. You ought to be doing the things today that a GOAT player that you would be doing. Period. So understand the athlete that you want to be, that GOAT elite player, you already got it. You already that. So just take the actions that line up with that and you'll be exactly where you need to be. So that's all I got, man. If this video brought any value, like, comment, and subscribe, and share this to somebody that can benefit off of this. Join my community. If you're looking for coaching or accountability, I got you. And remember, the athlete that you become and where you go, that's 100% on you. And you got it, fam. I promise you. So I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Go put in the work and go be great. And until next